Felipe Moraes dos Santos, dissertation, researcher of the UFPA group, doctorate student in Science and Mathematics Education, Master of Science and Mathematics Education, audio describer and braille writer, inclusive education specialist, graduated in mathematics.
Beginning of description. On the left, there is a young man with short brown hair wearing a red shirt with the sleeves folded to the elbows. In the background, there's a white wall. On the right of the video, there is a woman. She's the sign language interpreter. She has middle-high dark hair, wearing a black shirt in a black background. End of description. Hi there, I'm Felipe Moraes dos Santos. I have a degree in mathematics from Universidade Federal do Pará, UFPA. I'm a specialist in special education and the perspective of inclusive education by Escola Superior da Amazônia. I've studied Braille in Benjamin Constant Institute and Audio Describer from Universidade Estadual Paulista. I have a master's degree in Science and Mathematics from UFPA, and I'm currently studying to get my doctorate in Science and Mathematics Education at the UFPA. I'm from Belém, Pará, and I work as a researcher for a group linked to the UFPA, UFPA Group, that develops studies in mathematics education, science education, and inclusive education. From this interaction, I wrote this text for you, a project that I presented in 2019, guided by Professor Nelson Ribeiro Salles, which cares for a proposal of teaching arithmetics for people with deafblindness. And it's about some nuances of this project that I'm going to talk to you. This research took place in public school in Pará, specialized in assisting people with deafness and deafblindness. Our main goal with the research was develop arithmetic teaching activities that could be attractive to this public, exploring as much as possible their remaining perceptions and understanding deafblindness as a singular disability. We brought up as a question, in what terms of history of mathematics linked to the tangible instruments contributes to learning arithmetics by students with deafblindness? Here we expose some aspects of the research. In Chapter 1, we comment about deafblindness in a spiral of time. It could be too complex to work 319 years and put them all into just one chapter. So we decided to comment about people and situations that were relevant for serving this public, and we brought as differential documents that had not seen the light for more than 60 years, such as newspapers and magazines from the 50s, that helped us to understand how the country worked at that time and the potential that they have brought to our days. In Chapter 2, we comment about aspects of deafblindness, its uniqueness, its variables, communication aspects, and mainly the issue of the touch as a facilitator in the educational process. In Chapter 3, we present the construction of mathematical knowledge, going through several civilizations that use concrete material to understand units and measures. We bring as an example, in this chapter, a replica of the bone of a Shango, made for this study, as the original is in the Bruxelles Museum. According to archaeology, the Ishango bone was one of the numbering principles used by primitive people, and you can notice, by touching the grooves, you notice the units of this fibula. So this episode of history of mathematics has great potential to pique the curiosity of the students with deafblindness, to make a list of the concepts of the units in primitive principles and in our current world. Our methodological route is set out in the chapter 4. In this chapter, we point out the choice of method. Our characters and focus are on the researcher students, the student with deafblindness. In Chapter 5 and 6, we talk about the research locus, the development of appropriate activities and mishaps, such as the difficulty of using a traditional Soroban and doing some adjustments that sometimes are needed to be made. In this case, the use of a unit Soroban and a unit and 10 Soroban. To sum up, we understand with this study that the episode in the history of mathematics linked to concrete objects has the potential to teach students with deafblindness because it maintains attention, uses touch as an aid, and humanizes the concepts of mathematics because the student is going to understand that the human beings, just like him many years ago, sought strategies to understand the world, understand measurements, concepts, and overcome adversity.
Credits: Translation in Libras, Brazilian Sign Language by Kelly Brito. Portuguese subtitles by Ellen Borgesão. English subtitles by Emanuele Valente. Subtitle review by Laura Ancilotto. Dubbing by Renan Antonello. Edition by Fernanda Falkowski and Renan Antonello.